We made a mistake by starting this relationship. I read in a message from my lover.
I'm sorry, but our relationship was a mistake. The glowing screen of the phone mercilessly illuminated these words in the darkness of the bedroom. Marina read the message 3 times before she noticed the attached photo. It showed Artem, the same Artem she had been with for the past 3 months, kissing her daughter Alice outside the university. Oh my God, Marina whispered, feeling a wave of nausea rise in her throat. She ran her hand through her hair, which had recently been dyed a darker shade to hide the first grey strand. From the kitchen, there was a sound of dishes being put away as Alice returned home. Marina glanced at her watch. It was almost midnight. Normally, she would have scolded her daughter for coming home so late, but now she was clutching her phone, unable to bring herself to get up. Mom, are you awake? Alice's voice, so familiar and yet so unfamiliar, made her shudder. I am not sleeping, Marina attempted to speak calmly, but her voice betrayed her, trembling. Where have you been? Alice appeared in the doorway, her cheeks flushed and her eyes bright. She was wearing a new dress that Marina had not seen before. It was black, fitted, just like the one she had worn at her first meeting with Artem 3 months ago. Come on, Marinka. Irina, her best friend, urged her towards the entrance of the trendy cafe. Stop sulking at home. Look how beautiful you are, men will be drooling. You're being mean, Marina shyly adjusted her black dress. What kind of man is my age? All I have left is to breed cats. Oh, don't be so harsh. 42 is the new 32. Look at that handsome man staring at you. Marina followed her friend's gaze. A young man with a camera was seated at a table by the window. He was indeed looking at him, and when he caught Marina's eyes, he smiled. For heaven's sake, Irina, he's just a child. Marina whispered. What's the big deal? My friend winked. Youth is not a disease, but what a thrill. An hour later, when Irina went to the restroom, the handsome man sat down at their table. I apologize for my impertinence, but I'm a photographer, and you have a remarkable flexibility. Would you allow me to take a few pictures for my portfolio? Are you serious? Marina laughed nervously. At my age? What's wrong with my age? He was genuinely perplexed. You are incredibly photogenic, by the way. My name is Artem. Mom, you're a bit strange. Alice's voice brought her back to reality. Is something wrong? Marina gazed at her daughter. My goodness, when did she become so grown up? It seemed like only yesterday I was teaching her how to ride a bike, tending to her scraped knees, and reading bedtime stories. And now here she stands, all grown up and beautiful, embracing her lover. Alice, we need to talk. Marina stood up abruptly, feeling her legs go numb. Alice yawned. Mom, can we do it tomorrow? No, Marina showed her the photo on her phone. Let's do it now. Alice froze, the color draining from her face. Were you following me? Her voice trembled. No, dear, your auntie sent it. You know, after you told me that our affair was a mistake. There was a heavy silence, broken by the sound of a car horn. A moth fluttered against the window as night fell. Which novel? Alice backed away towards the door. What are you talking about, Mom? Marina felt a surge of anger well up within her. What the hell, Alice? He's 9 years older than you. And you're 14 years younger. Alice shouted. And this, in your opinion, is normal. Marina felt her daughter's words like a slap in the face. You don't understand. She started, but Alice interrupted. Oh, no, he said. You do not understand. There were tears in his daughter's voice. I think that since your dad divorced, you can act like. Like who? Finish it. Marina took a step toward her daughter. Like a whore, Alice blurted out and immediately covered her mouth with her hand, as if terrified by her own words. At that moment, his phone rang. The name appeared on the screen, Theme Heart. Marina managed to see the photo of contact, the very picture she took for his portfolio. The first picture they were in his studio, a small but cozy space that smelled of coffee and incense. Marina was feeling anxious, as it had been a while since her last photo session, which had been at a friend's wedding about a decade ago. Relax, he said, lowering the camera and approaching her. You're too tense. It's a bit silly, I guess, she chuckled nervously. At my age, 25 again. He rolled his eyes. Marina, you're a beautiful woman. And it's not just about age. It's about energy, charisma. Gently touching her shoulder, he adjusted her position. Here, look at this. Marina glanced at the images on the camera screen and didn't recognize herself. The woman in the pictures seemed younger and more confident. Are these some kind of filter? What is it? She asked, incredulous. Nope, he smiled. This is real you. You just don't see yourself like that. Mom, Alice snapped her fingers in front of Marina's face. Are you even listening to me? Marina blinked, returning to the present. I'm saying I adore him. Her daughter's eyes were filled with tears. And he adores me. Truly, not like. What about me? Marina finished softly. You don't comprehend anything. Alice withdrew her hand. You're actually, you. She sobbed. How could you? You're my mother. The front door slammed shut. Marina found herself alone in the dark apartment. The phone screen displayed another message from Artem, and yes, thanks for the wonderful 3 months. It was fun. She sank to the floor, leaning against the wall. A thought crossed her mind. He even added a smiley face to his message. It's like nothing happened. Somewhere in the apartment, a clock ticked, and a faucet in the kitchen dripped water. Marina sat there, reflecting on how one small decision, going to a photo shoot, believing in compliments, returning a kiss, could shatter the most precious thing she had. The phone vibrated again, this time with a call from Irina. Hello, her friend's voice sounded concerned. Marin, why haven't you answered your phone? I heard about your photographer. He's married. Marinka's voice came through the phone, sounding muffled. And not just that, his wife is on maternity leave, and their child is only 4 months old. Marina couldn't stop laughing, and it turned into hysterics. It's not funny, You know what he did? He dumped me for my daughter. What? Irina asked, surprised. Wait, Alice. Our Alice. Marina got up and went into the kitchen, shaking. She grabbed a bottle of wine from the cabinet and said, they've been dating for a month. I'll be right back, she said. But Irina stopped her. Don't, she said, opening the bottle after a few tries. I'm okay. Irina snorted and said, what's the plan? Wait for me, and don't even think of drinking alone. Half an hour later, the two were in the kitchen, and Irina was deleting Artyom's photos from Marina's phone. Marina was fiddling with her glass, and said, you know what's worse? I really thought it was real. I thought it was a fresh start. A new chapter, and he used me to get close to Alice. That's not necessarily true, Irina said, frowning. From what I hear, he's a real charmer. He wows rich women and somehow manages to get them to part with their money. What kind of money, Marina said with a bitter smile. I wouldn't even let him buy me a drink. She was so proud. Irina raised an eyebrow at Marina. And Alice, she has an account with him, right? The one he set up for her to use for studying. Marina paused with a glass halfway to her lips. Damn it, it's almost $1 million. She picked up her phone and tried calling her daughter. Beeps, beeps, then a robotic voice. This number is currently unavailable. We have to find her, Marina said, jumping up. Let's go to his place. At night, Irina asked, shaking her head. Marinka, let's take it easy. Shouldn't we call Sergey first? He might know something. No, Marina shook her head, not Sergey. He'd hate me, and he'd be right. Just then, the doorbell rang and Alice appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Mom, she sobbed, I'm so sorry. Marina silently hugged her daughter, who was sobbing. The smell of smoke and perfume wafted from her hair. Do you smoke, honey? She asked. No, it's not that, Alice replied, sniffling. I went to see him and there was this woman in a wheelchair. She was screaming and calling him awful names. She showed me pictures of him with other people. I feel so stupid, Mom. Marina pulled her closer. We both made mistakes, sweetie. Let's check your account and call the bank to freeze it. Irina chimed in, of course you did, but we need to act quickly. What about your birthday, Alice? It's in 3 months and this guy might have used your card to buy something for you. Alice's face paled as she realized what she'd done. Oh my gosh, Mom, he did. He said he was going to surprise me with something. Marina's heart sank. This was serious. Her daughter had brought a scammer into her life and they had to act fast to protect her finances. Okay, girls, don't cry. Irina took out her phone resolutely. I have a brother who works in the police, so we'll figure this out. Marina looked at her daughter sitting in the kitchen with a cup of tea and her heart ached. How could I have been so blind, she thought to herself. Alice, Marina gently touched her daughter's shoulder. How did you meet him? Alice looked up with red eyes. On Instagram. He liked my pictures, then he messaged me. He said I looked like you when you were young. I understand now why. That jerk. Irina couldn't take it anymore. Covering her phone with her hand. Wait, my brother's saying something. Okay, I'm writing this down. Just then, Alice's phone buzzed. Mom, her voice trembled. He says he's on the plane already. And, thanks for the present. Marina grabbed her phone. What? What present? Say hi to my mom for me. You guys were both really generous. And trustworthy, by the way. It worked out great with the photos, 1 photo shoot and 2 fish online. I'm sorry for the cliché comparison. Oh, Alice, Marina said, I'm so sorry. I hate myself for being so stupid. Don't be silly, Irina chimed in. You had no way of knowing. I should have been more careful. Then Irina interrupted, so, girls, my brother said this Artyom guy is a notorious scammer. He's had 3 previous cases, but the victims all took back the complaints because they were embarrassed to admit they fell for it. Marina felt her anger rising. And what now? Irina smiled triumphantly. Now we have proof, the photos. And my brother will testify to how Artyom tried to woo you for your money. He says it'll take time, but we'll get him. Alice sighed. But what good will it do? He's already left the country. Yeah, Irina grinned, only the border guards might have a different view on this. My brother's already called the authorities. Marina looked at her daughter. Alice, do you want to write a statement? Alice hesitated. And you? You agree with me? Together, Marina held her daughter's hand. We're family. No one will come between us. Do you forgive me for what I said? Alice squeezed her mother's hand tight. You love me, even though I'm a gullible idiot. Irina rolled her eyes. Stop whining. Let's just go to the bank. I'll need to call Sergei. He's Alice's guardian. Alice groaned. Dad's gonna kill me. Marina smiled sadly. He might kill me first, then you. All 3 of their phones started beeping simultaneously. The bank security alert, your card's been blocked due to suspicious activity. It's no use, I took it off, you idiot, Irina muttered as she looked at the screen. Never mind, Marina said, straightening her shoulders. Money is just money, but he won't be able to mess around with moms and daughters while he's in jail. Suddenly, Alice giggled. You know, that was kinda funny. Mom and I got the same compliment. You crazy girl, Marina hugged her daughter. Let's do some justice. Drive. When we called the bank, they said everything was fine. Marina took Sergei's hand. Come outside. Sergei's voice rose. What's going on? Dad, Alice stood up. We'll explain. But Sergei just wanted to know. Explain what? At that point, the officer came over. Sergei Nikolaevich, he said to Sergei. Irina Mikhailovna already explained. Come with me. Where to, dude? Sergei asked, frowning. To the cop, the sergeant answered. Just then, the detective came out of his office, a big guy with a tired face. All right, victims, follow me, he said, looking at Sergei. And, legal representatives too. An hour later, Sergei was sitting with his head in his hands, feeling defeated. A photographer, you say, he looked at his ex-wife from under his brow. And you, what were you thinking? It's not my fault, Marina replied quietly. It's our daughter too. We both fell for his lies. 900 grand. Sergei groaned. I worked hard for 5 years to get that money. I'll pay it back, Marina said, straightening her shoulders. I'll sell my car, get a loan. My fault, Alice sniffed, her eyes welling up. I gave him my card. Shut up, Sergei snapped. Both of you, the mother and the daughter. Don't you dare shout at them. Irina suddenly cut in. They've been through enough already. And anyway, your ex wasn't scared of the media, she made a statement. You know how many other victims are quiet. They're embarrassed. Sergei paused. He looked at his ex, who looked worn out, and her eyes were red from crying. Then he glanced at the daughter, who clung to her mom in fear. Fine, he sighed heavily. We'll sort out the money later. So, what about this, photographer? He got caught at passport control, the detective grinned with delight. And it looks like he'll be in jail for a while. There's too much evidence. **** 6 months later, Mom, look. Alice handed Marina a glossy magazine. It was her first publication. The centerfold featured striking, vibrant, and authentic photographs. Beneath them was a signature, photographer, Alice Voronova. Hi, darling. Marina embraced her daughter. I told you you'd never pick up a camera again. Well, Alice smiled. You can't let one person ruin all your love for photography. Dad, really? Sergei, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, chuckled. The main thing is that this person will only be photographing prison yards for 8 years. I made the last loan payment yesterday. 1 more year and we will refund the entire amount. Come on. Sergei waved off. Tell me what time the exhibition starts tomorrow. At 7. Will you come? That's it. Sergei winked at his daughter. My mother has made a pie, and there is enough for everyone in the gallery. Marina looked at him, so dear, so real, and thought, wow, what a strange thing life is. Sometimes you have to lose everything to realize that you already have the most precious thing. Mom, Alice said, tugging at her sleeve, do you remember when you said at 42 you only bred cats? I remember, Marina grinned, so what? I've been thinking, the daughter smiled slyly, maybe we'll get a kitten after all.